Podcast City Network. Hey guys, this is Chris of FinalScore, and we are finally back with another episode. I'm Chris, here with Craig. How you doing, bud?
Pretty good. We had a little bit of a hiatus.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. How you been?
I've been pretty good, man. Vacation did me well. I don't know, but how are you feeling?
I don't know. You got some crap on your head, though. It might be something you might want to have looked at. I don't know.
Speaking of having themselves get looked at, how are you feeling?
Hanging in there. As many have known, if you follow our social media on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, I was recently in the hospital. I am okay, though, because I am here. Not that it really, I guess, proves anything, but still, I am doing better. So, thank you for everyone who did reach out. But we are finally back. And as you can see, if you're watching us on YouTube and are able to see the video aspect of this show, we have a lot of new threads and stuff going on here.
Yeah, we get upgraded the camera a little bit.
Yeah, upgraded the camera, nice and clear.
A little bit of high definition, not so grainy anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're seeing a new layout that we've actually been tweaking over the last couple weeks. Finally have a chance to bring it to you.
Yeah, it looks real nice. And then, of course, can't forget this nice Notre Dame
Speaking of crap
thing right here.
Speaking of crap.
Hey, you do not badmouth this amazingness here. It was a present.
From the thrift shop, I was told.
Hey now, calm down. Calm down.
But we can't, hide this elephant in the room.
Are you trying to make fun of me like that? Like, I just got out of the hospital. Come on now.
No, I'm talking about a milestone episode. Again.
This is a milestone episode because this is episode what?
Episode 21.
That's right.
We can drink.
Legal to drink now.
FinalScore is legal to drink.
Yay, water.
Yeah, you're going to cheers with your water. He's
cheersing. Well,
doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
It's okay. I'll drink for you, so it's cool.
Health first,
What is that?
I don't know. It sounded good in my head. But anyways, though, we do have a lot to kind of catch up on, a lot of stuff going on. But, we are going to try and get through things as quickly as possible. It's going to be a lot of great things going on. But first things first is that we do have to hit up on the NFL news because training camp was underway.
Finally, training camp is underway.
That's right. And it's been exciting.
This has been great.
We actually get to see a lot of these players come out for the first time, see how they're gelling together going into this new season. All these different teams who have made different acquisitions, whether it be defensively, offensively, and we see them all coming together. God, it's an amazing time to be a fan.
Yeah, it's great because all the great storylines coming in. Of course, the Cleveland Browns and all the turnover they've had, the Raiders and all the moves they've made, and of course, the Giants. And I think they're picking up wide receivers off the street.
I'm sorry, I don't hear anybody talking about the Giants. I'm trying to look out there. I don't hear anything.
Don't hear anything.
All I hear is crickets. From the mass amount of. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's been real crazy. But a lot of teams now are entering into this period where injuries are starting to happen.
Yep.
Contracts are not working out quite the way they want to. So holdouts are taking place. I mean, what do we have going on right now?
Yeah, a couple of really big holdouts, actually. Of course, the big ones that everybody knows is Ezekiel Elliott, Melvin Gordon, those two guys, both looking for new contracts. Melvin Gordon has actually come out and said, hey, if you don't give me a new contract, I want out of L.A.
Right.
I want somewhere that's going to pay me, and I know my worth.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke has got 2 years left on his deal. One of them is a team option, but he's trying to get paid what he thinks he's worth. So, I mean, those are the two big ones, but of course, a couple other ones. Jadeveon Clowney is holding out. I believe his is also contract related as well. He wants a new contract. He's scheduled to get $16 million this year if he gets a franchise tag. But he wants a long-term deal, whether it's in Houston or elsewhere.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that wants to be entrenched in somewhere. You don't want to play the carousel game every year wondering, am I going to be like, go this year? Am I going to end up having to play for a new team, learn a new defense, what have you? So I can definitely understand, but let's get him signed. Come on.
Yeah, Houston really needs him. I mean, his pass rushing ability opposite J.J. Watt is imperative to their success.
Oh, absolutely.
Because the offense is still coming along with Deshaun Watson. I mean, you got DeAndre Hopkins, but that defense is predicated around the pass rush.
But one thing they do not have? A GM.
They do technically now.
Well,
technically they do.
In a manner of speaking.
By title, yes. By actual power. I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's questionable at best.
I don't know about that. But a couple other players that have also been holding out. We're talking about Yannick Ngakoue from Jacksonville, and he has outperformed his rookie deal by far. He was, I think, a third-round pick a couple years ago, and he has recorded 29 and a half sacks, forced 10 fumbles, and had 161 pressures on the quarterback that were actually statistically taken down. But he's got more sacks than DeMarcus Lawrence, Dee Ford, and Trey Flowers, who all got new contracts that guaranteed them $45+ million each.
And he was, like you said, he was a third rounder in the 2016 draft, pick 69 overall out of Maryland. and you know, hey now, I know we're 21 now, but you need to calm down, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't need Chris Carnage coming back after me. I mean,
I know he's already done a number.
That's how I ended up with this is not how I ended up with this. No,
it's not.
No, it's not at all.
But Ngakoue is only making, get this, $2 million this year. Only. But
for their standards, yes, that is honestly on the very, very low end scale. And I do understand he's only been in the league a couple of years, but still, the production that he's already had is amazing.
This is the one issue, and we were talking about this a few episodes ago about how way back when, before they put the structured contracts in, because
the rookie salary cap.
Yeah, the rookie salary cap, because every year, how many quarterbacks, like I know the Lions kind of got burned on that a little bit with Stafford because we had to draft him first. Nobody wanted the first round pick. But now you run into issues like this. I think it happens more so with defensive players where they outperform drastically.
Well, it's always hard to gauge defensive players sometimes. You never know exactly how they're going to be able to come in to certain defensive setups, to certain defensive schemes, and even more so playing around other defensive players that are of different calibers. So,
and adjusting to NFL offenses.
Exactly, which can be a very harrowing experience for some. So it's definitely a little bit harder when it comes to defensive players. But I felt like it was really good because offensive players, like you said, Detroit got burned a little here and there. So did many other teams offensively with guys that were coming out of the college ranks thinking that they were way, way better than what they actually were and were trying to negotiate as such.
Who's the big top 5, top 10 quarterback that's a huge bust but killed their cap room? Was it Sam Bradford?
Ooh, it might have been Sam Bradford.
I'm thinking it was Sam Bradford.
Yeah, because that was, I think, right before.
It was right before the cap was instituted. Yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, I think because I remember his cap number was huge his first year, and then of course his injury history. But I mean there's a little bit of there's good sides to it, and of course there's bad sides to it. This is kind of on the bad side. But for the Jags in the Ngakoue situation, if they really want, they could just trade him or let him walk because they just drafted Josh Allen, who fell to them in the draft. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was definitely a steal. But I think they want to try and hold on to both, obviously, because you want to have that great talent up the middle and everything happening. But with Yannick, I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Does he get the deal? Does he not get the deal? He only has really, 2-3 years worth of actual play tape on him, so he's still a younger player, and you know how I feel about paying guys up front. I'm not always about that. So
I do agree with you most of the time, but I think with pass rushers, they're so important in today's NFL.
This is true.
That you got to pay them.
And yeah, because you need guys that get after the quarterback, because that is such a huge thing. Because now with it being a pass-predicated league, you have to be able to get that pressure, and you have to get it any way you can. And usually the younger, the faster, the better. And
Jacksonville is, again, probably going to be anchored by their defense, and you got to be able to compete, especially in that
Brinks truck. Jalen Ramsey, just kind of bringing it on in.
I love that. Did you see that? We shared that on our Instagram.
That was amazing. If you haven't seen it, please go on to the PCN FinalScore Instagram and definitely check that out. It was probably one of the funnier moments of training camp thus far.
Yeah, but in the Jags division, I mean, you've got Andrew Luck, and I'm blanking on the other QB because Tennessee doesn't have one. They have 2 shoddy QBs. They got Tannehill and Mariota.
I mean, I feel Mariota's a little bit better than shoddy, but I feel Tennessee also didn't do anything to help.
Who's the other team I'm missing in the AFC South?
Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans.
Oh yeah, Deshaun Watson. I don't know how I missed that.
I'm telling you, it has to be that crap on your head. It might be affecting you.
I think it's the layoff. I think it's the couple-week layoff. But the other big holdout that we were talking about beforehand is Michael Thomas in New Orleans.
Yeah, and they are very, very far away on the amount that they want to agree to. New Orleans is pushing for 18, 19 million, but Michael Thomas was pushing towards the 22 million side of things. So it's very hard to see what's going to happen with this. And Drew Brees and the Saints need Michael Thomas.
Yeah, they need the offensive weapons because they had. I mean, yeah, you go up and picked up a veteran tight end this year.
Yeah,
but I mean, you still need Brees needs that passing attack, and they got to come to a deal here because if they don't, I could see New Orleans struggling on offense.
Oh, yeah.
It won't
hardcore.
I mean, he had 125 catches and 1,400 yards last year.
He was a top fleet wide receiver, and they're trying to treat him, I feel like, kind of a second-rate wide receiver because OBJ, we saw what he got paid when he went over to Cleveland, right around the 18 million range. The thing is with that, though, OBJ had an off year because he was in a New York Giants uniform, and once you put that on, you're just automatically a walking turd. So it's kind of just what happens. But sorry. But at the end of the day, he still got a decent amount of money to a team that has not had any kind of recent success, coming from a team that honestly, its success, while a little bit more recent than Cleveland's, is still not all that great. But you have a guy that is your top flight wide receiver that helped get you all the way to the NFC Championship game, no matter how people viewed the ending of that one.
Right.
He is the top target for the Saints. You need to get this deal done. You cannot have this guy missing training camp days, especially when, like you said, you got another tight end that's come in. You got other players that are getting integrated into the offense. So you have to be able to make this the finely tuned and oiled machine that it was last year. And the only way you're going to do that is throw that money at Michael Thomas. It's okay. Go borrow Jalen Ramsey's Brinks truck. It's okay. It's okay.
Do you think he's worth $20 million?
I don't know about 22.
I know we talked about this like a month ago on one of our shows because he's looking at like Julio Jones type money.
Right. And he definitely wants to get paid, and I'm not against that. But I know some guys have been kind of holding off. Amari Cooper, I know, has been waiting to make his deal just because he wants to see what everybody else is able to get, including the Julio Jones and the Michael Thomases of the world. But
right,
I feel Michael Thomas is definitely worth at least 20, 21 million. This is a guy that is going to catch a lot of balls for you for a good amount of time for as long as you can keep Drew Brees upright.
If I'm not mistaken, that would make him the highest paid receiver in the league, correct?
It would.
Was he worth that?
I think he is.
I don't think he is.
You're one blown pass interference call away from the Super Bowl. I feel like the guy's worth it because a lot of that offense went through him. Now, I know they had the two-headed beast of Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram, and that definitely helped take a lot of pressure off the passing game. But, with Mark Ingram gone and now in Baltimore, you do still have Alvin Kamara back there. And with him now probably becoming the feature back at this point, because I don't see him splitting time with anybody else, then, you're going to still have to lean on other offensive players. And Michael Thomas is going to have to be that guy.
He's going to have to be. And if they want to... if they want to have him on the field for the regular season, if he misses training camp time, to me,
it won't be too big.
He's in the last year of his rookie deal.
Right.
He's been through training camps. He knows what's going on. He knows the offense. This is his fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think fifth year, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I believe it's fifth.
I believe this is his fifth and final year.
Yeah, they exercised his fifth-year option.
Okay. So he's been through 4 training camps already. I would be okay with him missing training camp, but if you get into the third week of the preseason, you don't have something done, you just got to bite the bullet and offer him 18, 19 million to see what if he even bites at it.
Correction, this is year 4.
This is year 4. Okay. Because I know some deals have the 5th year option on it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but this is year 4. He only has 3 years in, but still he has produced every single year. It's been amazing to watch him play, but they need to get it done.
Well, another interesting stat that I found here doing some research, the Saints have never paid any skill position player more than $10 million a year.
Well, there's a first time for everything. And in this day and age's NFL, you're going to kind of have to. So, sorry Saints, if you can throw the Brinks truck at Drew Brees, you can do the same to his top target. Because you can't expect to have any kind of longevity if you don't have a guy to throw to. So
right,
and the biggest thing I always hate to see with NFL teams is just that revolving door of receivers. You're not able to get any kind of continuity. You're not able to get the kind of track record that you want to establish with a guy. So you can't do that if you can't keep guys there.
I'm a bit surprised they haven't offered him close to what he wants because of the fact that Drew Brees' window is almost done. Like he's got to retire within the next couple of years. Honestly, I think it's within the next year or two.
I have to agree. And so I feel with that in mind that this is the Saints window. So you have to take advantage of it as much as possible.
Do you think maybe they're playing this off because they think Brees is going to retire next year? So, like, why would I pay him this year if he's going to leave and Brees is going to retire? We're going to have to blow it all up and start over.
Well, at the end of the day, you did draft a quarterback that is like a weird dual threat kind of guy in Hill, but he's not going to be an
Hill's
answer.
not going to be...
He's not going to be an answer. So you still want to be able to have a decent receiver. The way I feel about it, if you want to get great value out of him, you know what you do? You try and get him for $21 million, sign him, go get your Super Bowl, because honestly, the Saints are going to make another tear this year. If Brees retires, then you can go ahead and implode it all. But now you have this guy who just went out and had a baller season and probably brought you a Lombardi trophy that you can now go trade away. So there's a lot you can play with this, but in the here and now, you still need that guy.
You do. I'm just wondering. I'm just playing devil's advocate here because, you know, like I said, Brees might retire next year.
He very well could.
And if they're like, well, Sean Payton's going to leave and go to Dallas after this year too, that's been a huge rumor.
That really has.
Why would they want to pay him if he's just going to go? They're going to blow everything up anyway. But you know, there's
a
I
lot
like
of
to play
what
devil's
ifs in
advocate a little bit.
though. There's a lot of what ifs in that scenario,
right?
So any number of things could happen. But I know one thing the Redskins are really hoping for is that they can get something worked out with Trent Williams.
Yeah, that's the last big holdout that we're talking about this week. Is he was mostly upset with how his medical condition was handled last year or over the last few years. And now he's got, I guess he had to get a growth removed on his head this year.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, man. So the Redskins had, who's that tackle? Donald Penn?
Yep.
They had him in. I'm sorry, Redskins, don't get your hopes up. You had 7 wins last year or something like that. It's just, you're not getting that. You're not getting that this year. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
but you got Case Keenum. You got Case Keenum.
Yay.
He'll get you 6, 5, maybe.
That's a stretch in the NFC East. You know, it's a very, very difficult division.
Well, I mean, the only 2 teams that are any good in there is Philly and Dallas. So
I don't like to concede that Dallas is anything near the word known as good. So, you know, but yeah, Philly all day.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for the Redskins no matter what, but the fact that Trent Williams is, and we've seen this with athletes in all sports, not trusting the team's doctors anymore.
Yeah, that's become a real big thing where a lot of guys end up kind of going to outside professionals, whether it be, you know, for certain amounts of training or rehab or even just medical insight. We've seen it actually even happen in certain cases with Tom Brady. So it's very interesting to kind of see that happening. But I kind of wonder if that ends up becoming like an insurance issue at some point, or, you know.
It might. You never know.
I don't know. It always gets kind of crazy. But one thing that we do have to look at that's real exciting that was posted recently on our Instagram.
The power rankings.
That's right. Preseason power rankings.
Preseason power rankings. Pro Football Talk released some preseason power rankings earlier this week. We shared it on Instagram, and we're going to share it with you all, and we're going to give our thoughts. I was pretty close to what they had. I mean, I didn't have anything too crazy.
Yeah, I just pulled it up now. It's interesting. It makes sense, you know, having the Patriots at number 1, given the fact that this is going to be your defending Super Bowl champion. Kansas City Chiefs at number 2 also makes sense. Just how dynamic and amazing they are, especially with a returning MVP, Patrick Mahomes. But it's when you're looking down further down the list, some of it.
Spoiler alert: Mahomes has a down year.
Ooh, heard it here first.
Spoiler alert. And they Tyreek Hill is not getting suspended for his baby mama's involvement of child abuse.
Oh, yeah, the baby mama drama.
Yeah, the baby mama drama. So he is not getting suspended for his involvement in that. So that's a huge weapon for them to come back. But I think honestly the Chiefs are going to have a bit of a down year.
I don't know. It's really hard to tell.
They struggled to get 12 wins last year.
They did.
And the Chargers also had a really good season. They're returning almost everyone.
Let's look at these power rankings again. Because looking at this, that is one of the ones I did want to point out is I feel the Chargers were ranked a little too low. in this.
I agree.
So if you are watching the video aspect, we do currently have the Pro Football Talk Power Rankings up with the Patriots, Chiefs, and Eagles rounding out your top 3, which I love the Eagles are number 3, but, biased me, I guess.
Of course you do.
But Cowboys sitting at 4, which I think is right about what they could do, depending upon if they get Zeke back in time. I honestly have them like 5, 6, but, to each his own. But at the end of the day, the Bears have an anemic offense that is just garbage and on fire at best. But they have a great defense. And defense wins championships, they say. So I don't know. So they say. But some of these were a little bit of head scratchers. Seattle being at number 9 and Pittsburgh at number 10. I think those are two teams that are going to have really down years, in my opinion, while they're kind of going through a transition phase with a lot of offensive weapons, especially for both teams, wide receiver. But Seattle does have a pretty decent defense. The Steelers still have, well, not a whole lot these days, but that's okay. But it's interesting to see both of them ranked ahead of the Chargers and even the Browns. It's just very interesting that they got ranked as high as they did at 9 and 10 in their rankings. What are your thoughts on that?
So I have mine going a little differently, and it was really tough. We were talking about this before the show. It's easy to get like the top 5 or top 3 and the bottom like 3 to 5. Absolutely. Everything in the middle though is tough because Dallas, I think Dallas could end up only being like a 9-win team this year.
They really could.
And that's what their over-under is. We'll get to that in a minute. But I have Pats, Chiefs, Eagles, Cowboys, Rams at the end of top 5.
Yes, I agree with that.
And then Saints at 6, Bears at 7. And the only reason I have Bears at 7 is, of course, you can call me a hater because I'm from Michigan, but I don't think Trubisky's going to be that good this year.
He's a garbage quarterback in general, in my opinion.
He had a solid year because of his defense giving him the opportunities. He didn't have to ever play from behind.
How'd Dink Donk go?
Won't have to play much. What's that?
How'd Dink Donk go? How's
that's a kicker. Game? Come on.
And they're still having trouble with their kickers because recently I read an article where the head coach lined up all the kickers, had them kick the same exact kick, and they all shanked it. So
yeah, they all shanked it.
Just saying. Apparently, they're really thinking about that playoff loss to the Eagles. So I think that could be the downfall of their season. Hopefully, the entire season.
Hopefully, the entire season. So the Bears at 7, Colts at 8. I got the Colts at 8, Vikings 9, Browns 10.
I can go with that.
At the end of my top 10. Then it gets a little funny. So they've got Seattle and Pittsburgh at 9 and 10. I don't have Seattle down until 17.
Yeah, that's about where I have them at, right middle of the pack.
They lost a lot of players this year.
They really did.
Yeah, you paid all that money to Russell Wilson, but who else is on that offense?
I mean, on that offense, of course you have your new shiny pony DK Metcalf, but that is going to be a project to get him to where he needs to be as an NFL receiver.
He's not even a solid route runner.
No, he's not.
He's very stiff.
He's a 2-trick pony. Literally a 2-trick pony. He can run a go route and a post route.
He can run a go route in the end zone because he's bigger, stronger, faster.
That's what I'm saying, but that's all he's got, really.
But
I have seen some video of them trying to work on his route running, but he just looks so tight.
Yeah, he does not look that great. I got Chargers at 11, Texans at 12, Ravens at 13, Steelers 14, Jags 15, and then Falcons, Seahawks, Packers, Panthers, Titans to round out the top 20.
I could go with a lot of that. Definitely the Panthers I do think are going to have a down year. That is one that a lot of people have been feeling like, oh, well, Cam Newton got his arm fixed. Everything should be good. I am not sold. The only good part of that offense right now is Christian McCaffrey. So
right. The only reason I have the Panthers at 19 is I don't think they're better than any of the other teams ahead of them. But once you get down to 19, 20 and lower, it's like, okay, well, who are they better than? All these teams you could really, in my rankings, you could shuffle probably 17 through 23 or 24 up, and that's who it is.
Oh, yeah.
Because it doesn't really matter. 21 I've got my Lions.
Only 12 teams make the playoffs anyways.
Exactly. So, I mean, they're on the outside looking in my opinion. Lions at 21, Jets at 22, Niners, Bills, Raiders, Broncos. Raiders could go way up, but as of right now, they got to show me something.
Well, the getting Antonio Brown was huge, and sure, now you got the nice shiny car in the stable of wide receivers, but they still need to prove things defensively to me, and that's where I think they're going to have a lot of pain.
Right, and I think the Jets are kind of in that same boat. They got Le'Veon Bell, they got C.J. Mosley from Baltimore, and they got some big free agent signings, but they still have to be able to go out there and prove it. They still don't have any receivers. They got Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's about it, and he's an undersized receiver. He's very good, but he's not like a number one outside receiver for Sam Darnold to go to, 15 times a game.
And that's a big thing, too, is that you still have a young, developing quarterback as your pivot. So you're really going to be probably leaning on Le'Veon Bell to try and take the load of their offense to get them to where they need to go.
But I've been impressed with him because he's been saying all the right things in training camp. He's willing to do whatever they need to do.
Until he came out with that little video,
Well, this was after that video.
Oh, okay.
He had a interview.
I don't know, naked girls and stolen jewelry and going off on an Instagram, it's...
Yeah, he's talking about haters on his Instagram or something. I don't know.
Haters gonna hate. I don't know.
But yeah, at 25, and then the last couple here, the bottom of the barrel. I think Broncos are gonna have a really down year.
I think Broncos are gonna be one of the worst teams in the league.
Their defense is still good, and they got Vic Fangio coming over from Chicago, but it's the offense that I'm worried about.
Yeah.
You got Phillip Lindsay, who's a nice young running back. Still got Emmanuel Sanders, but you got Flacco throwing to him. Don't really trust that. I don't know if he'll even be the starter the whole year. Maybe Drew Lock gets a few starts at the end of the year,
which he's come under a lot of criticism as well. So it's going to be
That's why he wasn't drafted in the first round.
Look at you.
That's weird.
So funny.
And then Redskins, Bucks, Bengals, Giants, Dolphins, Cardinals.
Yeah, Giants, in my opinion, though, are probably going to be the worst team in the NFL this year. And given what's happened with the wide receiver core, even more so now.
Yeah, and I had this done before all that happened on Friday with all the wide receiver injuries. So, yeah, I've no doubt that the Giants are going to be one of the worst teams this year.
Absolutely. It's going to be horrible. I'm predicting 4 wins. You get 4, guys.
Ooh.
4. Maybe they'll tank for Tua.
Tank for Tua. They just drafted Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and the Cardinals just drafted Josh Rosen, but here we are.
You're right. You are right. You are right.
Blind nuts right twice a day. Anyways, so at the end of the day, though, it's definitely been a pretty crazy little offseason to get us to this point. But we got to look forward now to this upcoming season. What better way than looking at the over-under?
Looking at those over/under totals, man, I saw this, and a couple of these were little head scratchers to me.
Oh yeah,
but most of them I could see very well happening.
Oh, very much so. Let's go pull up the graphic, and you look at it, and some of these make a lot of sense. Some of these, like you said, are a little bit of a head scratcher. I definitely do see the Patriots being a 10+ win team again. That's just been a staple for the past 20 years, it seems like. So if the Patriots don't win 10 games, there's something wrong.
Yeah. Do you think they go over the 11?
Honestly, I think they'll hit 11 or maybe go a game over.
Okay.
I really don't see them getting less than 11, though.
So you're a push.
Yeah.
You're going to go push?
Push or over, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you that. I don't think they're going to get under, even though they lost Gronk. And, how long can Brady actually continue all of this? But, the Pats are the Pats.
Every year, yeah.
Yeah, so I have them as a push, too. I think they'll get 11 or 12.
Oh, yeah, we'll see how that plays out. But the Chiefs also sitting there who were huge and now boast the Madden 20 cover athlete. They're currently set at 10.5. I honestly have the over on this. I think they'll get 11, maybe 12 wins.
Okay. Under.
How far under?
I think they will get they'll get 10 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not careful, 9.
Ooh. Watch out.
They're in a tough division.
They really are.
I mean, outside
the Broncos.
Even the Broncos D, you never know. The Broncos.
Yeah, they show up every now and then.
And the Chiefs don't have a defense. They really don't.
No, not anymore.
They have no defense whatsoever.
They kind of imploded it.
Yeah, they pretty much imploded all of their defense. So they're solely relying upon Patrick Mahomes to be like, here you go. So I think he's going to have a bit of a down year. They're going to get under, but not by much.
Oh, yeah. And then you look at the Rams. The Rams were great last season. They're also at 10.5, which I found a little surprising. But honestly, I have the over on this too. I feel their defense plays well enough and their offense is always there that they're going to be able to push through and I think hit 11 or 12 wins this season.
Without looking at their schedule, they still have a lot of talent on defense. Mm-hmm. They are really going to love having Cooper Kupp
back
from injury. Todd Gurley, he's Not a 97 in Madden, thank you very much. I don't know what the hell they were thinking there. But I think even without him, they can find enough weapons and they can go over. I think they can go over.
Definitely. Definitely think they could reach that. But looking at it too, let's look at an interesting one here is the Saints. And now I find this very interesting because the Saints return pretty much their entire team with very, very few exceptions. They're set at 10.5. I also am taking the over on this. I'm taking way over on this because I think the Saints, honestly, I would think they're going to repeat and have another 13 games. And it's mainly going to be because of their division.
I was just thinking the division. They're going to sweep both games against Tampa, sweep both games against Carolina.
Yep.
I think they'll split against Atlanta.
If not sweep too, honestly.
I don't think they'll sweep Atlanta.
Atlanta's
a lot healthier on defense than they were last year.
Well, that's easy to say at the training camp phase.
That's what I'm saying. Like even this time last year though, they had injuries.
They did
on
they
defense.
Did. Yeah, and they were already prepping a season that was probably end up going to being a down year anyways.
So I think it's going to be a 2-team race between Atlanta and New Orleans. But I agree, New Orleans goes over.
Definitely. And looking down the list of some of these other ones, a lot of them are kind of interesting. They have a lot of teams really going down the pack. But I wanted to look at the other end of this real quick. Giants at 6. They had 6 wins. Or I'm sorry. Giants had 5 wins. Let me correct myself.
They had 5 wins last year.
Had 5 wins, but they're projected for 6 for the over-under. I'm going under. Way, way under. 3, 4 wins if you're lucky, but probably going to be about 3 wins.
Especially
by the time the season starts, it's probably going to be just 1.
Especially with their injuries. I'm going under too. I don't think they get 6.
Oh, it's so crazy. But one I also look at, and this was one I think really could happen, is with the Texans. Now, a lot of people are really high on the Texans. They did have some injury concerns, but I have a more of a issue with their front office right now. You don't have a actual GM. You have a GM that you fired right after the draft and free agency and all that, and is now, I guess, back as a special advisor consultant.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know what is going on there.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And kind of said they aren't going to have a GM in totality of title for the season. So this is a team that won 11 games last year, and this is a team that has a lot of really young talent that really could do something. And now you're going to tank your season because 8.5 wins for this upcoming season, I'm going to say 7.
Oh, you're going to go the under?
I'm going under.
Well, the nice thing about this is that GMs don't have to get on the field.
This is true.
So they don't have to worry about that. I definitely don't think they hit 11 wins this year. The Colts are a lot better. I think the Jags do come back up. Man, 8.5. That's a good number.
It is, but
damn you, Westgate and Vegas.
Gosh, you guys do your job so well.
You're so good at your job. I hate it. I hate it. And the Titans are at 8. Oh, man. I think they're going to be better than Titans. I think they get... I'm under. They get 8.
They get 8 on the dot, huh?
I think they get 8.
Oof. All right, well, I'm going to throw another one out here, and this is probably the last one I'm going to bring up for right now, is the Browns.
Okay.
Now, the Browns are set at 9. Okay, the Browns only had 7 wins. Now, they've only had, 8 wins in, 3 years.
They haven't made the playoffs since 2002 or
2002.
2002, yeah.
I remember that game. God, I just aged myself. Anyways, the Browns, though, are only set at 9 wins. This is a team, though, that I feel improved the most. Let's give them a big, shiny trophy if needed for most improved team in the offseason because the Browns brought in offensive weapons, defensive personnel that are going to be able to get them over the top, and everything they can to try and make their swaggerific quarterback happy. And it's amazing to see the transformation this roster has undergone. But it is just a roster. Everything looks great on paper, but it's why we play the games. But I feel the Browns are a team that are going to be able to follow through, especially now with their division being so weakened. And the Bengals even took a hit today. It was breaking that A.J. Green was carted off with apparent left leg injury. Yep. So even another hit to the rest of their division. So I still am going to stay pat that the Browns are going to win the division at 11-5.
I'm with you. I think they got 11 wins. We were looking at their schedule before the show, and I think it's 11 wins for them. It's they could win. They could probably lose one of those games, so maybe they go down to 10. But I think they hit the over.
Yeah, they're definitely not going to be just a 9-7 team. But definitely been interesting looking at these, and obviously though there's a reason the games are played, so we'll definitely see how all this plays out.
Yeah, it's gonna be
once we
fun.
get into the season. Yeah, it's gonna be real crazy. But man, other NFL news though going on around the league, and a big one is that we're gonna have a team by team breakdown, little pre-release, little preview of all the teams going into this season. Sorry, I'm getting more and more excited. I got to calm down.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Doctor said I have to keep things calm. I can't get too stressed, do too strenuous of things.
Yeah, but all this over under just kind of gave us an idea of doing something that, you know, is kind of adventurous for us. It's a little bit. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun though, and we're going to have a team by team breakdown of how we think each team is going to fare week to week. Mm-hmm. Not scores or anything like that. But
nothing crazy.
I mean, that'd be really fun to do, but good luck with that. But we'll be releasing over roughly the next 30 days or so, up to week 1 of the NFL. We are going to release every day for 30 days, actually 32 days.
32 days.
So we're going to get started like this week.
Yes.
And we are going to release every team from 32 all the way to 1 where we think their record is going to be this year. Do we think they're going to beat the overs or unders here? And then, of course, that last week heading in, we're going to do an NFL preview show based on all those records we used and who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, and ultimately, who's going to hoist the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year.
That's right. We do exciting things around here on Final Score.
So, yeah, be on the lookout for that on our Instagram. We're going to be releasing that for roughly the next 32 days. Day by day, we'll have one set up.
Oh, yeah.
And should be a lot of fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be really exciting, especially once we get a breakdown, because there's been so much turnover this year. So it's going to be really exciting to see a lot of these matchups and see what's actually going to happen and see how a lot of these teams might actually fare this season. So
yeah, I'm really curious to see who you're going to have as your division winners.
I mean, I can't pencil in Eagles for everything, so.
Yeah, it's true. The Eagles can't win every division.
Boy, there's a will, there's a what? No, there's nothing there. Never mind. Anyways, but at the end of the day, that's going to be real exciting. So definitely make sure that you follow us on our social media on Instagram at PCN Final Score. Give us a follow and make sure that you go ahead and click yourself to get those notifications. That way you can make sure you get notified when they drop every day. So it's going to be real cool. But there's some other exciting stuff that's been going on recently. A lot of things that people like to do in prep of the season.
Yeah, of course. You know, we're both gamers.
A little bit here and there.
A little bit here and there.
I'm talking about a little bit. I am.
Yeah. Madden is about to be released very shortly.
Yes.
Madden 20. The beta's out right now, actually. One of our stream team members has been playing it religiously since it's gotten released. So the Pick Six podcast on CBS has done their annual Madden simulation for the whole year. So we shared that video on Instagram. It's like a 4.5 minute long video. But basically what it does is it covers all of the predictions for the year, basically the big highlights, you know, crazy upsets and all that kind of stuff. This was nuts. They had the Bills winning the AFC East at, get this, 9-7. They had them winning the AFC East. They had the Patriots not even making the playoffs at 7-9.
Completely missing the playoffs.
Oh God, what were some other good ones?
Oh, they said the Pats had lost like 42-6.
Oh, the Browns beat the Pats 42-6.
Browns beat the Pats 42-6
in their week like 13 matchup.
Yeah, it's insane.
The Packers win the AFC North at 8-8.
At 8-8, yeah.
Every team in that division had at least 6 wins, which I thought was kind of weird.
Dallas won the NFC East, which I don't see happening this year. Sorry.
But the Eagles were at 11-5, 1 game behind them, which is
still made the playoffs.
Very plausible. Very plausible.
Still plausible.
The Buccaneers went 1-13 and 2 ties.
Yeah, 2 ties, not 1.
2 ties.
2 ties.
But 2 ties. There's a lot of ties in this one. Who else? The Redskins somehow went 8-8.
You know what though? With all this craziness and all these things that are happening with us, you know what we need to do?
What should we do?
I think we need to go ahead and have a Final Score Madden 20 season simulation and see what we can come up with. Because this is too crazy. This can't be anywhere near accurate of what could actually happen. The Browns, I'm high on the Browns. I'm sorry, 42-6 against the Pats ain't happening. Sorry.
Hey, you never know, man.
Well,
that high-powered offense.
We could know. All we have to do is the final score Madden 20 simulation and find out.
You're genius.
I do have my moments.
We are once we get our hands on a copy of that, we're going to bring that to you.
Yes.
That'll be a lot of fun. We'll do one season, and then we'll see who makes the playoffs and who are the awards go to and all that fun stuff. And maybe we'll show some stats and stuff like that too. That might be a little bit fun.
Be fun, right? Yeah.
And then if everything goes haywire, we'll just have to do it again.
I mean, you gotta do it till you get it right?
I'm thinking we can do like 10 seasons, not like 10 consecutive, but simulate the season 10 times and see what records everybody has, and then we can kind of
do an average.
Yeah, just do an average.
Yeah, it could work.
What do you think? You guys let us know. Do you want us to do 10 seasons, or should we just do one and nope, you get one shot, that's it?
Ooh, I guess everybody's going to have to let us know. So make sure that you hit us up on all of our social media outlets on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PCN Final Score. But wait, there's a new route they can contact us on now, isn't there?
There is, actually. You want to tell them about it?
Oh, man. You can actually hit us up via email now.
Oh, my God. Email?
Email. I know it sounds kind of archaic now.
This is so 1996. Oh, wait, 1998. I'm sorry.
So make sure that you hit us up.
Hit us up
1996 fashion.
Hit us up on your dial-up AOL Netgear Net Zero accounts,
or just direct message us on our awesome social media here above my head,
or via snail mail.
Oh, you're killing me. I really think that big piece of crap on your head it's really just sapping your brain. It might be a succubus.
Oh man!
Oh my goodness! But yes, you can email us now. All through all this, I cannot even remember the email address now.
PCNFinalScore@gmail.com.
So hit us up, drop us a line, and give us your 2 cents on it.
And with college football and NFL and all that stuff, with all those seasons about to kick in, we are looking for contributors as well for the coming season.
That's right.
If you have a favorite team that you follow and you feel very strongly about it, hit us up via email and shoot us some of your stories, and we'll be adding some contributors for the upcoming seasons this fall.
Definitely. So if you're interested, definitely do that and send us what you got. And who knows, you might be the next Final Score contributor. It's gonna be exciting. But you know what else is exciting?
We have more over-unders.
We have more over-unders.
More over-unders because we love our stats, and I love gambling. Not really, I don't love gambling, but I love speculating about.
We like to speculate a lot.
Yeah, we like to speculate a lot.
But the 2019-2020 NBA season over-under win-loss totals have come in. And I'll tell you what, it was kind of interesting looking through a lot of these. Throwing the graphic up now and taking a look at these. You look at how some of these teams fared, like the Milwaukee Bucks, who ended up having 60 wins last season, projected for 57 this upcoming season. Over or under for the best team last season?
Oh, man. I don't think they'll have the best record this year, but I think 57 in the East is roughly about correct. So that'd be a push for me. I think they're going to get 57.
I honestly have to agree with the push just because it's really going to be kind of hard to tell. But matching 60 wins, that's really hard to do. And at this point, they have to be able to adjust to Antetokounmpo at some point and be able to actually stop him.
Who?
What?
Who?
Nobody.
Who?
So the LA Clippers, who just acquired Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, huge gets for them, set at 55.5. Now, this was a 48-win team last season, which is just over 500. So, I don't know. I feel they could end up going over this, hitting 56, 57 wins. But I could see the low side of this. But officially, I'm going to go over.
Over. Way over.
Way over.
Way over. And by way over, I mean, I think they could push 60 wins.
Oh, snap. They definitely could, though, with that kind of talent.
I think they could. They've brought back almost everybody. Mm-hmm. Almost. I mean, they've lost a little bit. But, I mean, the only issue they're going to have is their projected starting lineup. They have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac, Montrezl Harrell. Mm-hmm. I think those two in the post is going to be tough offensively.
Right.
But defensively and rebounding-wise, I think they're going to be just fine. They still got guys like Shamet coming off the bench. They brought back Austin Rivers, I believe, too. Or no, that was Houston. Sorry, I was thinking Houston. I don't know why I was thinking that. Because Doc Rivers is the coach. That's why I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to push 60 wins. I really do.
I could see it. It's just hard to commit fully to it.
Even with a loaded West.
Ooh, I was about to say, even with a loaded West, it's hard to see. But you know what? Crazier things have happened, like the fact that they had the 76ers sitting here at 54.5 after only having 51 wins last year.
Under.
Oh, yeah, definitely under. I feel like they're going to be lucky to hit 50.
Oh, man,
I got them at like 48.
Everybody's really high on them, and I don't quite understand it.
I don't either.
Then again, that's we don't get paid to do this, so I mean, who are we?
We are passionate people. That's what we are.
You're damn right we are.
That's right.
But I think they're gonna go under. I think they'll get about the same as last year, 51. I wouldn't be surprised if they even hit like 49 wins.
Yeah, that's
something
what I'm
like
saying.
that.
I just don't see it happening for them this season. But one that we definitely got to point out right now is the Houston Rockets. This was a 54-win team last season. There's projected 52 over under for this season. However, Russell Westbrook. I know
52 is a damn good number.
It is a damn good number. I'm honestly going with the push here.
I'm gonna go over.
Ooh, he said over.
I'm gonna go over. Not by much, but they're gonna go over. Just because when James Harden went on his tear last year, you're playing against the Phoenix Suns and the New York Knicks of the world most of the time in the regular season. Is that going to translate to playoff wins? No, but I think they're going to get more than 52. Just a few wins more, but I think in that West, I think by acquiring Russ Westbrook, they pushed themselves near the top.
I'd have to. That's a good outlook on that. But another one I'm going to look at here, Boston Celtics. Now they're at, I think it's
40. So they had 49 wins last year. They're at 49.5 is their over under this year.
49.5 this year. So I honestly, it's really hard to tell because I feel with Kemba Walker coming on with the young nucleus that they already have there, that it could end up becoming something really great. But it's just hard to tell. But I'm going to take a chance on this one. I'm going to say the over on this. But just over. I'm thinking 50 wins, maybe 51.
That's where I'm at. I'm at about 50 wins for them. So just over. Just because not only did they get Kemba Walker, Enes Kanter is also a part of that rotation now, the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. They lost Terry Rozier off the bench, but it's not that big of a hurt for them. I think they're going to be better by subtracting Kyrie Irving. Mm-hmm. And Kemba's more of a team guy.
That is true. Which could help with that young nucleus.
Yeah, and that's going to help a lot too. And those young guys are now like entering the final years of their deals pretty soon. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be playing their hearts out trying to get that big contract. I wouldn't be surprised if they go over. But here's a fun one. Mm-hmm. Who do you think off this list is most likely to go under? Who is most likely to go under on this list?
Not named the Phoenix Suns.
Not named the Phoenix Suns. I mean, you could use them if you want. They had 19 last year, projected 27.
Yeah, but I feel like that's one that is too easy just because that's probably what's going to happen. I only see them getting maybe 20, 22 wins. But I like going for shock and awe.
Okay.
And that's the thing I see here is that it's so hard to tell because the 76ers I have definitely going under. The Utah Jazz are probably going to be about where they are. But another one I see, honestly, could be the Denver Nuggets.
Okay.
They're at 52, sorry. Have won 54 games last season. But honestly, I'm going to take the under, but it's not going to be by much. I still see them as like a 50-win team. Maybe 49 if they get into some, slow trugging.
Okay. Here's I got two for you.
Okay.
Toronto Raptors. They had 58 last year. They're projected at 45. Mm-hmm. I think they go under. I think they barely make the playoffs.
Ooh.
If they're lucky.
So we think like 42, 41?
I'm thinking like 41 and 41.
Ooh.
I'm thinking like they're going to be like the Orlando Magic last year trying to just fight into the playoffs.
Oh, and speaking of the Magic.
And my other under, actually they have Orlando at 40.5. I think they go over. I think they're right around where they were last year, 42, maybe 43 wins.
I can see them pushing to 45 if they're able to get the same type of production. Because there's a lot of games last season they were really close to winning.
Right.
But, just as many probably that they were real close to losing. But I think they could be a 45-win team. Have less than 40 losses. Maybe.
I don't know.
Hopefully.
I mean,
go
yeah,
Magic,
one can only hope. My other one, this to me is not much of a surprise, but in the eyes of Vegas, because of how good their offseason was and because they got the next prodigy on their team, New Orleans Pelicans.
Ooh.
Projected at 39 wins. I'm going under.
Honestly, I have to agree with that. I have
almost way under.
Ooh, how far is way under?
I'm thinking, even though they got veteran leadership on that team, I don't think there's any way they get to 39 wins. I think they get to like maybe 35 tops.
That's what I'm thinking, honestly. Like 35, 36 if you're feeling real good. But, even though they've made a lot of great additions, bringing J.J. Redick in, obviously they got Zion, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's just not going to be enough. Just
because I know Zion's a freak, and he is so athletically superior to everyone else in the college game. Even in summer league, he only played one game.
Right.
He looked decent, didn't shoot well from the floor. I think in an everyday grind, an NBA season, 82 games, even his body's going to break down.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't think he's going to look good. Nah. I don't think he's going to have a good rookie season.
I think it's going to be rough. It's going to be a lot of growing pains.
I don't think he's rookie of the year.
Ooh.
I don't think he's rookie of the year.
Ooh. Tall order. Heard it here on Final Score. Man, not rookie of the year.
I mean, for his sake, I hope I'm wrong. Because if he's going to be the guy that everyone is touting him to be, absolutely, he should be hands down rookie of the year.
Should be. But if he doesn't win it, who does?
Ja Morant's too easy of an answer.
That would be my answer. I'm not going to lie.
Ja Morant's too easy. I don't think Ja Morant has a great year either. I think he does a decent job. I think his thing is going to be improving his outside shooting.
Yes.
And, oh man. Rookie of the year. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that one.
All right.
I'm going to have to. I can't.
On a future episode of Final Score, we'll be having that discussion.
Yeah, I'm going to have to come back to that one. We'll do it before the NBA season starts. We'll do our preview show for that as well.
Of course.
But, I think, the other one I got to throw in here, of course, we talked about the Magic. Pistons are at 37.5.
Gotta expect that one.
41 last year.
Under?
I want to say under.
I'm going like 34.
I think they can get to 40, 41 wins, but I think that's
overachieving.
41's their ceiling. Last year is their ceiling.
Yeah. And they only get lucky enough to hit that every now and then, it seems like, anymore. So
if Derrick Rose plays like the old Derrick Rose, which he hasn't played last year, he got close to it.
Oh, I mean, like every team's been hoping that's been picking him up in Chicago?
Exactly. If he plays close to what he used to be, then, okay, you've got a shot at being the over, getting close to that 40, 42, 43 win mark. But even then, in the East, you're still going to make the playoffs as like an 8 seed, 7
it's
seed.
Not going to look pretty because you're going to end up getting right through the buzzsaw right off rip in the playoffs.
Now their problem is they got 2 big contracts. You still got Blake Griffin. You still got Andre Drummond, which you're paying him. He's only... by skill set, he's making $25 million a year. He's only worth about half that. Mm-hmm. He's only really worth about $12 to $13 million a year based on his skill set, in my opinion, of course. But, I mean, all your money's tied up in those 2 guys who are both post players, don't necessarily always play well together.
True story.
And you have no depth outside. They have no shooting. They don't have an honest point guard. I think they go under.
Might just be right. But you know what? To make sure we don't go under, though, we have to pay the light bill.
We do.
Which means we actually have to cut to a break. But definitely make sure, though, that you keep up on all things Final Score by going to all of our social media outlets on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PCN Final Score. And as I forgot to actually mention earlier, look down below, see all the different platforms that we are now available on between
Yeah.
Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean, PodCoin, Stitcher, TuneIn, Google Play Music. We are literally like everywhere these days. So definitely make sure you check us out. Give us a like, give us a follow. Make sure you sign up for the notifications. That way you can find out when we have new content released. And make sure that you catch up with Final Score because we're where it's at.
We're back on the proverbial horse.
Yes.
After a little
Try
bit
not
of
to get bucked off. Get off my lawn.
A little bit of hiatus, but we're back. We are
But
back.
we are back. But we will be back right after this break, so make sure that you stay with us.
The following support and sponsor Podcast City Network. City Limits Tap Room, sports bar in DeLand, Florida, has brew on tap, serve food, the grilled cheese is excellent. For upcoming events, check out City Limits Tap Room on Facebook.com/City Limits Tap Room. Atlantic Sounds has thousands of new and used vinyl records and CDs. If they don't have it, they can order it for you. Same location since 1982. For more updates on what's new, check out Atlantic Sounds on Facebook.com/Atlantic Sounds Vinyl. Sports Sanity Customs have worked with organizations from custom embroidering polo shirts to jerseys for your kids' baseball team. They do it all. Armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an in-house design team, they are equipped to take on your next project. Visit their website to learn more, sportsanitycustoms.com. Visit Sports Sanity Customs on Facebook.com/SportsSanityCustoms. 3Count Design offers a wide range of graphic design products, video, photography and other forms of media. Everything from t-shirt designs to websites. Visit Facebook.com/3CountDesign for more. Demo Blast Studios, an explosion of imagination. Original artwork, podcasts, video, apparel and more. Visit DemoBlastStudios.com. Visit Demoblast Studios on Facebook.com/Demoblast Studios, the best family entertainment pro wrestling show in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky's Own Wrestling brings quality family vintage wrestling to a town near you. Kentucky's Own Wrestling offers a ladies division in wrestling and a training school. Kentucky's Own Wrestling is the current longest running Southern promotion. Visit Facebook.com/Somerset Kentucky's Own Wrestling. All supporters and sponsors are brought to you by Podcast City Network.
And we are back here on Final Score with Chris and Craig. And you know what? We got to get some baseball news.
We got to hit that baseball news. We are in the second half of the season. All-Star Weekend was earlier this month.
Yes, it was.
In Cleveland. And now it really gets fun because we're in the pennant race now.
That's right. Things are going to get real crazy because now we're going to start getting down to the wire with everything as everybody starts making the march towards October. And it's going to be nuts.
It's going to be so much fun. We have our MLB power rankings for that were released this last Wednesday. Mm-hmm. They're released every Wednesday, if not every Wednesday, every other Wednesday.
That's right. As you see right here on the actual podcastcity.net/Final Score-blog page. You can go on there and check out the trade deadline and all the crazy candidates and potential destinations. It's written up by one of our contributors, Rod Nunez. And I tell you what, it's great stuff. Definitely make sure you check it out.
Yeah, definitely check that out. We've always got that updated with all things baseball at this point. And of course, once the other sports get into full swing, we will have more updates on the blog. Mm-hmm. And of course, college football.
Oh,
we're going to be so peppering that blog with college football and NFL and of course the NBA once they get swinging again. It's going to be a lot of fun, so be sure to check that out periodically and be on the lookout for it. But we were talking about rankings, power rankings and standings. What do we got for the MLB standings so far?
The standings have been crazy. A lot of teams have been making a lot of different moves. But we're going to start right at the top in the AL East. The Yankees are holding a 8.5 commanding lead over the Rays for that division right now. But the Red Sox are still making a push towards the top and currently hold the best 10-game record right now at 7-3 for the last 10. So definitely watch out for the Red Sox as they try to make a push towards playoffs. And
Tampa's really been struggling a bit with their pitching. They've had a few injuries lately. Mm-hmm. They actually lost, I believe they lost the series to Boston this last week.
Yep, 5-10. Or no, wait, I'm thinking of the Yankees game. Sorry.
You're thinking of the 10-5 Yankees game.
It's always good when the Red Sox beat the Yankees. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure you always like that. But I mean, this basically, these two teams, Tampa and Boston, are basically playing for wild card at this point.
Oh, yeah.
And we kind of had a feeling, at least some of us had a feeling that the Yankees were going to win the division. Actually, no, I had the Boston winning division, but I had the Yankees making the ALCS.
Yes, you did.
I did.
Correct yourself, sir.
I will correct myself. Thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
But we knew this would be a 3-team race.
Absolutely.
And now it's down to basically one team winning the division, two teams for the 2 wild card spots. And it's gonna be a lot of fun watching these 3 teams battle it out over the next month or two.
Yeah, it's going to be really crazy, and we are getting down to that nitty-gritty because we are under 100 games left. I think we're sitting at about 50 or 60 or so, and it's going to be a wild race to the finish, so people definitely need to watch out. But looking over at the AL Central, the Minnesota Twins now command this division by only 2 games over the Indians. The White Sox, Royals, and I'm so sorry about your Tigers, are sitting so far back that they are
worst team in baseball.
Eliminated.
Woo! We are the worst team in baseball.
With the worst run differential of -203. How do you feel about that? You want to burn that shirt?
Hell no.
I mean, just people that get all mad about their teams when players leave and stuff that they want to burn their shirts instead of giving it to other people. So
we were talking about that more. Honestly, okay, Detroit, Illich family, if you're listening to me,
hopefully,
as a lifelong Tigers fan, I'm going to plead with you. Please, just find Miguel Cabrera a good home. Just trade him to a contender. He's 35 years old, 36, whatever. He's getting up there. Mm-hmm. But he's a great hitter. He's going to help out a contender. Trade him for a ton of prospects. I don't care. Trade Matt Boyd, too, because he's the best pitching prospect you've got that's actually in your starting rotation that's any good. Blow it up. Start over, which they already kind of started doing with J.D. Martinez and all that kind of stuff. But, oh, my God, please, Tigers, for the love of God, please don't go back to what you were in the late 90s when I grew up watching you and you were terrible to watch in Tiger Stadium.
Oh,
please.
Gosh, this is crazy.
Please.
So in their last 12 games, they've only won 1 game.
It's been awful. Awful.
And they're like not even close.
It's been a struggle to watch you, Tigers, but I still do faithfully anyway.
And currently the Tigers are down 4-1 in the top of the 6th to the Seattle Mariners. With a man on first and 1 out. So
yeah, whatever.
You're just used to that. It's okay.
Yeah, we're just used to it. I mean, we lost our window and we got screwed by Kung Fu Fat Panda. And who else? Oh, the Cardinals. Albert Pujols destroyed us in the World Series. I don't hold grudges, I swear.
No grudges. Yeah,
I don't hold grudges
from the final score, guys.
But the Indians, though, have been on a tear, absolute tear. They've really turned their season around over the last month. They've been tearing it up.
And they've won 8 of their last 10, which has been huge, considering the Twins haven't been quite as good in the last 10-game span. So the Indians have been able to close this gap. So it's going to be a real nice finish between these two teams for that Central Division.
I think Cleveland takes the series, or not the series, the division.
Ooh,
I think they overtake the Twins and they take this division. They're too good not to.
Oh, I mean,
because we were talking about this.
The Tampa Bay Lightning were too good too at one point, and then
none of these teams, besides maybe the Dodgers, have been blowing away the rest of the league and then have an epic collapse in the playoffs. We're still in the regular season.
That's true. We're not there yet.
I mean, but we were talking about in the season preview that the Indians were probably going to run away with this division. We didn't expect the Twins to be as good as they are, but I still think the Indians win it, and I think the Twins fall out of the playoffs.
Ooh.
We got 60 games left. There's still a lot of time.
Still a lot that could happen. So, there's really no telling. But
I think the Indians take over the Central. They win it. And I think still Boston and Tampa win the 2 wild card spots and make it in. If one of those teams doesn't make it, I think Tampa misses out. Oakland gets in.
Oh, that's crazy. That's so crazy. But looking at it, though.
Speaking of the West,
the Houston Astros currently have an 8-game lead on the Oakland A's and have been tearing it up. Houston is now at 66-39. Playing pretty decent to the last 10, real respectable. Still have a run differential of 116, which I think is 3rd best in the league. So Houston's definitely making it happen. But the rest of that division, outside of Oakland is just honestly too far gone, I feel, at this point. Angels are 12 out, Rangers 12.5, and Mariners 23, even though they're beating your Tigers. So...
Well, the Texas Rangers were the real surprise early in the year.
Right.
But you kind of wondered, were they really going to make it sustainable? Mm-hmm. And this just kind of goes to show you that they finally fell off. I've been impressed with the Angels over the last month because they have been hovering around 500 for most of the season.
They really have.
No forward momentum. And then all of a sudden, right around the All-Star break, they got on a bit of a win streak. Now they're going right back down to 500. Mm-hmm. So for the Angels, they got to make... If they really want to try to make the playoffs, you got to make some moves now, this week, with the trade deadline coming up. Because I think you can't keep Trout happy for that long. I mean, yeah, you signed him to a big deal, but is he really going to be happy with being mediocre his whole career? Mm-hmm. I don't think so.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely something you have to look at. But switching gears over into the National League, looking at the NL East, the Braves currently have a 5.5 game lead over the Nationals, which we knew this division was going to be a little bit of a toss-up outside of, the Marlins. So with that, it's kind of proven as such, but the Braves have been able to make some nice in-season moves, be able to bring in some more pitching help. That's really helped push them to be now 61-43 and having this lead over the Nationals. But still, don't count out the Nationals or the Phillies. Nationals might be 5.5 back. Phillies are still sitting 6.5 back. So, crazier things have happened. But I still feel the Braves are probably going to take this division. Nationals
are another team. We were talking about this in the season preview that the Nationals should be still in the conversation for the division. They really struggled to start the year.
Really struggled.
But they have gone on such a tear over the last 2 months, really. Mm-hmm. They had a stretch where I think they had a stretch where they didn't win. Oh, God, what was it? They had 12 straight games or something like that. It was crazy. Something crazy. But they got themselves right back into the thick of things of the NL East. And, of course, the Mets have been the Mets and fallen off the face of the earth. And I see them to be sellers.
Mets fashion.
Yeah, I see them to be sellers at the deadline. But I think it's really going to be fun to watch with these three teams, Atlanta, Washington, Philly, because they're all still in it. And if you're Philly, you got to go and get something at the deadline because – all this hype with Bryce Harper coming in, he hasn't been great, but he hasn't been awful. Mm-hmm. He's been about what you expect him to be, and you got to get him some help, whether it's pitching or just more bats in the rotation or in the lineup. You got to do something.
Yeah, you got to do something because you're not going to be able to do it with what you have already. So get some help. Simple.
And they're minus 19 in run differential, so you definitely need more pitching.
Yeah, definitely need more pitching.
I mean, your pitching will keep you in games, but the bats are what going to win you those games.
Exactly. But looking at the NL Central, the St. Louis Cardinals now lead a division that is so tight that we said from the very, very beginning that this was probably going to be the most hotly contested division in baseball.
Yep.
And it's proven as such. So you have the St. Louis Cardinals leading division by 1 game over the Cubs.
God damn it, Cardinals.
2 games over the Brewers. And even only 9 games over the Reds and 10 over the Pirates, looking all the way through the division. All the teams are within 10 games of the division lead. That is crazy at this point in the season because usually you have at least one team that's like 15, 20, 25 games off the mark. But in this type of layout, every team has a shot. But the Cardinals are playing so strong right now.
They're red hot.
Yeah, they've won 6 straight, 9 out of the last 10. It's just been crazy.
They're so red hot right now. It's just it's ridiculous. They finally overtook the division, and I honestly didn't really expect this watching them early in the season because they did not play well to start the year, and it looked like it was just going to be the Cubs and Brewers. But Paul Goldschmidt picking it back up. He's doing what he was supposed to do when he came in, and they're finally stringing together some wins. They're finally getting that run differential up, which is where you want it to be. They're at plus 29, and they've 9-1 in their last 10. They've been playing so well over the last month.
Yeah, they really have been really making it happen. But at some point, you have to expect some type of cool down. I don't think they're going to be able to keep this sustained obviously over the next 50, 60 games to go all the way into playoffs. And I still think the Brewers, because they were my preseason pick to win this division, will inch up and still take this division.
I think the Brewers are done.
Nah.
I think the Brewers.
I think Christian Yelich's still smacking. He still has like 35 or 36 home runs, leading the entire league.
How's their pitching?
Yeah.
That's what's been hurting them is their pitching. And you see a common theme here with winning teams is that you have good pitching. Whether it's starting rotation, you have to have a solid pitching staff combination, starters, bullpen, and closers. And the Brewers just don't have that. And it shows. I mean, yeah, they scored 513 runs. They've been killing it. But they've also given up 524 runs.
True.
So, I mean, if you allow people to score, it doesn't matter how many home runs Yelich hits. He could be in the running. He's still in the running for NL MVP. Mm-hmm. But if the Brewers don't fix their pitching and they don't win the division, he's not winning MVP. There's no way they're going to give it to a guy that didn't make the playoffs to get an MVP.
True.
There's no way.
Very true. But looking at the rest of this division, it's so wide open, and anything I feel like could happen.
The only team that's really kind of out of it is the Pirates.
Yeah, they're kind of at that point.
They're 10 back. Their run differential sucks.
-70.
And they're lost 6 straight.
Mm-hmm.
They're finally falling off to where
Pittsburgh needs to be. Oh wait, whoops.
we kind of thought they would be. The Reds are still hanging in there. They just
I don't know if they have enough though to be able to make that kind of a push.
I don't think they do either. And especially with the rest of that division being as talented as it is, I don't think they can make that kind of a push.
It comes down to the same 3-horse race we thought it was going to be, really.
Absolutely.
Cardinals, Cubs, Brewers.
Absolutely.
But you know what? Looking at the NL West,
there's a 1-horse race in the NL West.
There is a prime 1-horse race known as the LA Dodgers, steaming ahead with a 14.5 game lead for the division over the San Francisco Giants, and they are literally leaving everybody in the dust in that division. Literally leaving them in the dust.
They are, which we knew would happen, but the San Francisco Giants have come out of literal nowhere to now become second in the NL West, beating out so far. We knew the Padres were going to be down near the bottom of the division.
Right.
The Rockies are massively underperforming from where they were last year. And the Diamondbacks, with as good as Greinke's been, I think he's like 10-2 this year. 10-2, 9-3, somewhere around there. He's been playing really well, but I mean, they just haven't been consistent enough as a team to stay competitive in the wild card race. The Giants have come right up and just hit their stride, even though their run differential is horrible. They've been 8-2 over the last 10. And
they're only 2.5 out of the wild card.
And they're only 2.5 out of the wild card. That is the craziest part to me, is how far back they were earlier this year to where they are now. I think they can make a push. Ultimately, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if they sell at the deadline, because I think they know they're not going to make it.
I mean, they should know at this point, because it's not been the greatest.
You've got 4. Even if you throw in them you got 6 solid teams fighting for 2 spots. Right now, it's the Cubs and Nationals holding the wild card spots. Phillies and Brewers are 1 game back. Even the Diamondbacks are 3.5 back. But I think those bottom 2 teams, they're going to fall off, and they're just going to give up at some point.
And it only makes sense given the circumstances. But we'll definitely see how it all plays out. It's definitely going to be a crazy season going the rest of the way. So definitely make sure that you check back here with Final Score as we bring you updates for the rest of the season. But there is something that we do need to touch on a little bit.
Yeah, the trade deadline comes up.
That's right, the trade deadline.
July 31st, actually, within a few days here. And it is probably going to be just as big this year as it is every year. You've got teams that have been on the phones so much. Of course, you got the Yankees. They said they've been on the phone with everybody except for the Boston Red Sox.
No.
But if you're curious about if you're a baseball fan, you're curious about the deadline and what players could potentially move, we have Rod Nunez has put up a deadline story of the top 15 candidates and their potential destinations.
Yep, that's as you can see it here that we now have on the screen, the entire trade deadline story. A lot of great players on here. And definitely going to be interesting to see how a lot of this shakes out because a lot of these guys are expected to be on the move as soon as now. So, never know what will happen. But looking at it, though, what kind of players do you see on this list that are the most likely to move at the deadline?
Most likely. I'm going to say not necessarily most likely, but the one that I want to see move on this list.
Matthew Boyd?
Oh, yeah, obviously. Anything. We got 3 Detroit Tigers on this list, and yes, move them all. Move them all.
But who you got?
I'm going to go with Noah Syndergaard, Thor himself.
Oh, snap.
Of the New York Mets. I think that the New York Mets need to get him gone because of the fact you're not going to make the playoffs. You are a dumpster fire of an organization. Your GM is an ex-agent, a la Rob Pelinka.
I was just about to say.
And I'm a fan of him.
Oh, yeah. He's your fave.
He's my fave. We're besties. Even though he went to Michigan, I just don't... Never mind. It's not either here nor there. Your GM there was an ex-agent. He doesn't really know what he's doing. He's calling the head coach during games and telling him to make moves to pull people out of the game. Like, it is just such a crazy, crazy situation that's going on there with the Metropolitans. It's just, I think you've got to try to find, and you can get some really good pieces for a team that's maybe necessarily looking for another big starting pitcher. Of course, the Astros are always going to be looking for that. The Rays could be. I don't think the Rays have enough to want to take him on.
Yeah, not at this point.
The Twins are another one that they might be on the phones. The Braves, if they're really all in, why not? Go for it. Go and get a division rival's best pitcher, one of their best pitchers, and try to take the pennant. But I think there's a couple other teams on that list too. The Padres are interested, the Dodgers, of course. But I think if any team is going to do it, it probably would be. I think it would probably be the Twins or the Braves. I would think.
Definitely makes sense. For mine though, I look at Marcus Stroman, starting pitcher for Toronto. Just because Toronto is so down and out in their division at this point, they know there's no chance that they're making any kind of playoffs. And they're going to need some kind of return on having an ace like this in their rotation. So it really only makes sense to take this guy and try and move him and get as much back as you can to try and set yourself up for next season. Because it wasn't that long ago, Toronto was a team that we were looking at that could potentially win the AL East. But
yeah, a few years ago.
But now they've honestly just fallen on hard times. So they need to try and bring more in. And there's a lot of teams that like you even had listed, like the Astros, that are going to need pitchers, especially once they start getting into playoff time. Another big one, the Yankees, who've really been big on Stroman. So definitely going to wait and see. But I think Stroman is eventually going to get dealt, and I think it's going to be to the Yankees.
I was just going to say, I think the Yankees are going to get him.
Yeah, I think they really are.
They still got a pretty good farm system at this point, and I mean They've got a lot of prospects that they give up, and yeah, they're in win now mode. I'm with you. I think the Yankees take them at the deadline.
Yeah, it only makes sense, and I know the Yankees are going to make that push to try and take the AL East and not let it slip to Boston in any kind of way.
Oh, they're not. They've already got that in their rearview mirror. They're looking ahead to the ALCS and the World Series.
Listen to you. Got to get by the Red Sox first. But either way, though, we do still have MLB Best of the Week. What do you got for the week?
My best of the week goes to one of your boys.
Yeah?
The reigning reigning AL MVP, Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
Red Sox outfielder. He homered 3 times in 4 innings against the Yankees on Friday night.
And that 10-5 win?
What's that? The 10-5 win you were talking about.
Yeah. See, I told you it was on the mind.
Yeah, you had it on your mind. Well, Mookie Betts finished the evening 4 for 5, 5 RBIs, 4 runs, and a career high 14 total bases. It's been a long time since the Red Sox had a guy had at least 14 total bases, but Betts now extends the longest on-base hitting streak in the AL to 23 games, and this is what his stat line has been through those 23 games.
Let's hear it.
383 batting average, 464 on-base percentage, and 670 slugging with 5 home runs, 10 doubles. Now his overall stat line has been brought up to just under 300. He's at 289, 399 on base, and 500 slugging.
I love it.
He's finally getting back to MVP form. And that is,
really is.
And it's a perfect time for the Red Sox for him to be batting this way and to be getting back to his MVP status.
Especially with the kind of issues the Red Sox have been having with their pitching already. Having Mookie Betts be able to get back into form like this is something that really could help bolster them and possibly try to make that push to make it in the playoffs.
And crushing the Yankees in 2 games
always awesome.
Always helps.
Always awesome.
Always helps the morale.
Definitely. But you know what else helps morale? That's my best of the week, and that is former Red Sox player David Ortiz was released from the hospital on Friday after spending well over a month and a half after being shot back on June 9th in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, at point-blank range by a paid gunman, which this whole story has taken so many twists and turns. It's been absolutely crazy. But during this time, he had a total of 3 different surgeries that included removal of his gallbladder and part of his intestine, and it's just been insane. But was brought to Boston, stayed at a Massachusetts General Medical facility and at their general hospital, and was able to overcome a lot of this and is now at home resting. They have a team of nurses with him, whole 9, making sure he's taken care of. But in the response to the actual incident itself, 14 people have been arrested in connection to this, which ended up being linked back to a drug lord who put out like $30,000 for a hit on a guy that wasn't even David Ortiz. So wrong place, wrong time. Craziness.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it's good to hear that he is released. He's back home, healthy as possible. He's resting, and continued prayers to him to make sure that he gets back to full strength.
Absolutely. But it's now time for This Week in Sports History.
This Week in Sports History. We got a few really good ones this week.
Yeah, we really do.
The first one we're talking about, on July 5th, 1999, the 86th Tour de France was held. Lance Armstrong won his first of 7 consecutive Tour de France titles, but was later disqualified for drug cheating.
Man, that just, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all nice and
cheating.
Man, no wonder Sheryl Crow left. Anyways, July 26, 1992, Nolan Ryan strikes out his 100th batter for the 23rd consecutive season.
The fact that a player not only plays 23 seasons in the major leagues, but the fact that he strikes out 100 batters in 23 of those years, 23 consecutive years, 100 batters. That is insane.
That's 2,300 batters.
Wow, look at you and your math.
I'm smart.
Welcome back to Final Score.
Welcome
everybody.
back, guys. Welcome back.
That's such a huge feat for him, and for such a legendary pitcher too. I don't think that'll ever be topped.
I don't think you could be able to top that.
I don't think there's any way.
Today's day and age.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be topped. July 27th, on today, Saturday, July 27th, 1973, the NFL had its 40th All-Star game in Chicago. 54,103 people attended to watch the NFL All-Stars versus the Miami Dolphins.
So this is back when the Miami Dolphins were still actually, something.
Come off their undefeated season, actually. The Miami Dolphins won that game.
Oh, my gosh.
They won 14-3 over the NFL All-Stars. That's how damn good of a team that was.
And they're still popping champagne every year. All the undefeated go down.
Yep, every single year they pop champagne until they're all dead and gone.
Oh, man. But you know who else was popping champagne? Tony Hawk. Because on July 27th, 1999, Tony Hawk became the first skateboarder ever to land a 900.
I remember watching that actually at the X Games, and that
too.
it was so hyped up, and it was a lot of fun to watch. But it wasn't the first try. Took him a couple tries to do it.
Yeah.
But it was so awesome to see that, and just to see his reaction, everyone's reaction when it happened. And of course, if you ever try to pull that off in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, it's a hell of a lot easier.
Oh, of course.
You remember that game?
Oh yeah, and you don't have to worry about breaking your neck on the way down.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I remember like the first two, I think 2 or 3.
I played the first 3.
I think the first 2 or 3. Then it got really weird.
Yeah, it got really crazy from there. And then they had the Underground series.
I think it's just because people lost interest.
Well, you had to find ways to reinvent it. You can't just come out of the skateboarding game and be all cool every year.
Madden does it. Oh,
you got me there.
Pew, pew. Shots fired.
Oh, man. But that has been This Week in Sports History. and definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I always like looking back on this week in sports history because there's a lot of things that you forget about that you go, oh, yeah, I remember about this. So it's always fun. I always enjoy doing this segment.
But you know what else is fun? The good old give or go.
The old give or go.
That's right. We're going to hit right off the top. Steve Spurrier makes custom AAF championship ring for himself after his lone season coaching the Orlando Apollos. Give or go.
Oh my God, give. Yes, this is hilarious. I love it. Steve Spurrier is the ultimate. He's the ultimate bragger, like for sure. He's makes his own custom AAF championship rings for himself. I don't know if anybody else he had made for them either.
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think it was just him. But have you seen the pictures of this?
Oh, they're nice.
They're really nice. And so one season, actually half a season, coaching for the Orlando Apollos.
That's right.
We have them represented every week here.
Every week.
Long live the Apollos. Which really sucks because I really like the logo. I like the scheme. I think they had a lot of potential as a team.
For sure.
So please, NFL, if you do a development team, please pick up the Orlando Apollos. But I thought it was really funny because Steve Spurrier has made it known that they should have won the championship, been crowned champions. He said it ever since the league folded. I think this is hilarious.
Oh, it's great. Absolutely great.
Winningest coach in AAF.
Very true. Very true.
All right, next one. We only got a couple this week. Pac-12 Commissioner Larry Scott exploring the idea of 9 a.m. college football games. Give or go.
I'm going to give on this for a little bit. Now, what I find interesting about this is that you always have all of these college football conferences trying to find new ways to expand their brand and have more viewership. That's always the key because that's how you end up driving revenue and getting money. But at the end of the day, he wants to try and have 9 a.m. games to try and window into a slot here on the East Coast where they can have noon games, 12 o'clock games for the Pac-12.
I get it. Because we talked about this before the show. Most of their games are 7 local, which is 10 Eastern. Unless you're crazy people like us, you don't sit up and watch that.
Yeah, and it's hard to stay up for those kinds of games when you're on the East Coast, watching a 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock game. But 9 a.m., if you look at the logistics of a setup of a game, you're going to have your team there probably at like 6, 7 a.m. just to get ready and start doing warm-ups, which means you're meeting at the locker rooms at like 5 a.m. So it's like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of give and take with this. Now, they are just exploring the idea. This isn't something that's been formally introduced to the actual board for the Pac-12 or anything like that.
Right.
But it is something they're looking at. So, I mean, I wouldn't mind waking up, though, and watching football right off the start of the day.
Well, I mean, for us it'd be noon anyway. So we we're always on at noon. So
sitting down, eating your sandwiches, resting on your laurels.
Yeah, of course. You guys are too, right?
I mean,
Gold
Dome and all.
Yeah, 2 winningest college football programs, and that's, we haven't won championships in how long, and you guys got closer than we did, though.
Yeah.
College football playoff.
I mean, twice we've gotten closer since the last time you guys won one.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
No matter how the actual outcome was.
Yeah, that's okay. This year's the year. But doesn't Fox air Pac-12 games on like Thursdays?
They do. So I do find that if they were to try and do that, it would also, if you think about it, kind of disrupt any kind of studies too, having that early of a game in season, if they were to go that early in the week.
If Pac-12 is looking for maximum viewership, they need to, well, you can't do it on Fridays now because Fox is going to be WWE centric on Friday nights.
Yep, SmackDown.
But I would do Thursday evening games, do the games at 5 p.m. So people can actually get out of work or, whatever and do all that. And you could still have an 8 prime time window, but that's only like a couple of games. You can only do so many games in one, but I mean, the Big Ten throws like 5 games at noon every week. So, I mean, why not?
And that's the thing I think that they're looking at, too, is that they want to still try and stay in that Saturday slot because, that's prime college football time. But like you said, you have like the Big Ten throwing a bunch of games on at noon. SEC usually throwing them at like anywhere from 1:30 to 3:30. Right. NBC throws a Notre Dame game up usually at 3:30. So I think maybe the Pac-12 might be just trying to get a little bit of an edge by being that earlier product, being able to have that quicker exposure, have that quicker, out.
They just want to make sure the voters for the college football playoff
Actually see them?
Yeah, actually can see them, because most of the conferences that are selected, even like the Big 12, their games don't air any later than 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. local for them. Like they're making the sacrifices, but it's really tough for a 3-hour window like that.
Right.
3-hour difference.
Gosh, I can only imagine what it's like in Russia. 11 time zones.
Jesus, that'd be insane. Insane. But I think they got to find new ways, because they don't have a top flight program that is going to be in the college football playoff every year.
Not anymore.
I think the closest team this year might be Washington, maybe Washington State.
Maybe.
I think
Oregon has some kind of crazy year they pull out of their hat, but I don't see that happening either.
I don't see that happening.
I mean, they
either.
have a Heisman contender at quarterback, but at the end of the day, though, I just don't see it happening. But at 9 a.m. games, maybe it would work.
I like the creativity, but I don't think 9 a.m. is the way to go for local games.
No.
I would be okay with them doing a bunch of noon local games, because that's still 3:30. That's still prime time for Saturdays for us.
Yeah, and that's what
So
works.
it would make sense, but I wouldn't go 9 a.m. That's insanity.
Yeah, it definitely is. But you know what else is kind of crazy? Mark Sanchez retiring from the NFL to become a college football analyst. Give or go.
Oh, I want to give on this. Oh, the old butt fumble finally retires. And it's really funny that he is going back to being a college football analyst when he was in college, he was told not to leave, and then he left anyway.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Yeah, I mean, it worked out for the first couple of years.
Only for the first couple.
He's the only quarterback that has defeated Manning and Brady in the same year. In the playoffs.
You would pull a stat out like that. What are
in
you,
the
ESPN?
playoffs.
Jeez.
Pretty much. But, Mark Sanchez, really interesting career he had, because first couple years, he looked like a steal for the
really
Jets.
did.
And he looked he didn't look like really good himself, but like the way the team was set up, they were really solid defensively. They had a good scheme on offense, and everything was great. And then Rex Ryan, went crazy, and then everything fell apart.
Yeah. I mean, Rex Ryan did get a tattoo of his wife wearing Mark Sanchez's jersey on his arm. So if that doesn't tell you anything.
He was also in, he was some of those movies too.
Oh, gosh. I don't even.
What was the last one he was in?
I'm trying to remember.
Not Grandma's Boy. That's My Boy. That one.
That's My Boy,
That's
yeah.
My Boy. The one with Adam Sandler. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, God. That was a terrible movie.
Horrible.
It was hilarious, but it was a terrible movie.
But that has been our give or go. Always nice to end it with a butt fumble.
It's always nice to end it with a laugh at the butt fumble.
Oh, it always is. But taking a look at the week ahead, a couple little snippets here. Nothing too crazy, only a few things, but hitting it right off the bat, August 1st through August 4th in Minneapolis, Minnesota, they will be having the Summer X Games. Definitely going to be exciting. So definitely going to probably see some motocross and some BMX, skateboard, a lot of exciting stuff on that. Hopefully some vert and half pipe. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah, I haven't really tuned into X Games too religiously, since I stopped. I skateboarded for like 2 weeks when I was a kid, and that was it. I realized that I'm not good at it. So, but I mean, I tune in every year a little bit. I usually watch the Big Air. That's usually a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah, Big Air's always good.
Big Air's always fun to watch. But yeah, that's always fun. Always fun to tune in for a little bit. So looking forward to that. And then of course, with training camps here, that means.
That's right.
The Hall of Fame game is right around the corner.
It's right there.
Hall of Fame game is going to be August 1st at 8 p.m. on NBC. It will be Denver Broncos versus the Atlanta Falcons, a rematch of Super Bowl 33.
Definitely going to be exciting. And I don't know. We'll definitely see how everything works out in that one. But
Denver,
it'll just be nice.
John Elway is not walking through that door as a player. Just saying.
That we know of.
He might suit up.
I don't know. We'll see how Flacco plays.
It's okay. Drew Lock will play. I have a feeling
that here we go.
If Joe Flacco struggles in the first let's say 7 weeks, I'll give him some time.
7 minutes, but okay.
Yeah. I think by about week 13, Drew Lock.
Just might.
Drew Lock. Because Denver's they're gonna be struggling. Their defense, they're going to be in the same situation that Jacksonville was in last year when they got 5 wins.
Right.
Where the defense is so much better than the offense, but if the defense is on the field for the whole game, the defense can't be elite.
Exactly, and that's what's going to be crazy. But finally, though, and this is what I see in all this, finally get a taste of football back.
Thanks a lot, AAF.
Has screwed it up for everybody.
Screw it up for everybody. Oh, speaking of which, this is off the topic. Did you see that Tom Dundon is suing the AAF to get his $70 million back?
I did not.
He's putting in a lawsuit because he says he was, what was it? I don't have it in front of me, but it was basically he says he was tricked into becoming an investor because of all the court stuff that was going on, the litigation that he was not informed about. That what's his name? The dude that's been lying the whole time.
Bill Polian.
Not Polian,
No,
the other
not Polian.
one. The other one.
Why can't I think of it right now?
The kid that his dad is NFL Films. We've been talking so much crap about him.
God, it's just so much that we have to keep up with.
But
this is what happens when you take time off.
So Tom Dundon is suing the AAF to get at least half, or if not most, of his investment back, his $70 million investment.
Right.
Because he basically got screwed out of it. He got duped out of it. So I thought that was really funny. And it's just a fitting end to this whole story that is the AAF.
Yeah, the AAF and all of its atrocities.
It could have been good.
It could have been. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but here we are.
But when you pay every single player the same amount, it gives no incentives to the top tier players. And, I'm hoping the XFL does it better.
I think they will, especially, with what our experience was being down there in Tampa for the XFL Summer Showcase. I feel it's going to be a lot different, and I think it'll be a lot more beneficial for the type of approach that's it's supposed to be. So we'll definitely find out come February.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But that wraps up episode 21.
That's right.
Our legal drinking age episode.
Legal drinking. Well, yeah. Anyways, but
it's okay. It's okay. You can step up to the adults table soon.
So this has been episode 21 of Final Score. Make sure that you check us out on all of our social media offerings on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PCN Final Score.
Welcome
back. Give us a like, give us a follow, and we are back.
Welcome back.
We are back. And definitely make sure, though, that you check us out on all of our platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Podbean, PodCoin, Stitcher, TuneIn, and Google Play Music. Make sure you go on there, give us a like, give us a follow, download all of our latest content, and check out all the great things that we have going on. But until next time, I'm Chris, this is Craig, and you just watched Final Score. Have a great night. Podcast City Network.